What are some of the key lessons you can say you've learned, or maybe the key lessons you've learned around business and entrepreneurship?
If you are working or if you are partnering with somebody, you don't need to do whatever they are doing.
How do you usually go about networking?
So I'm very keen on who I interact with, where to be, and who to talk to. You must do your research. What do you want? Which people do you want? Which network do you want? Join that network. Network is your network. An entrepreneur will basically think of a passion to commercialize. A business person, if they have money, they can do it.
Good evening and welcome to the Late Night Business. My name is Ian Dennis, and as always, each and every week we have a very interesting show lined up. And today, it's no different. I have with me a gentleman in the fashion industry and has traversed various industries that I'm going to be exploring about. But before I get to introduce my guest, I want to remind you that you're here at the Capital Club, the place you need to be as an entrepreneur, because at the Capital Club, you have a wide array of amenities you can actually be able to access once you come to the Capital Club. But at the same time, once you're a member of the Capital Club, whichever city around the world that you go to, you have access to different particular clubs. We meet in Dubai, London, New York, wherever it is. Once you remember here, you can access all these particular amenities around the world. I also want to remind you that two of my books, one, Food for Thought and the other, Business Conquest, are actually out at the Textbook Center and at the Noria stores. And before even starting this particular conversation, I like to just pick in one of these quotes that I have around business. And it says, to derive true value, it must be created and perceived. And just exploring it further is that in business, value creation is essential, but it becomes truly meaningful when it's perceived and appreciated by the intended audience, particularly the customers. And just trying to speak in terms of whenever in business, all you're trying to do is to create value for your clientele, but at the same time, the clientele have to understand your value and also perceive it to be able to make you pay it back. And my guest today, Mr. Dominic Kavugwi, hope I've gotten it right, the founder of Bittiner. Karibu sana, welcome to the show.
Asante sana, yeah.
And let's just dive into it. What's your thought around this particular quote in terms of just trying to creating and just having perceived value?
So what comes to my mind is basically, for you as a business, you need to always think about the customer when you're coming up with a solution. So the client doesn't buy your brand. They buy what they want. And what they want, you need to understand it. And that's why you derive value out of that. Yeah. So you must basically be in the customer's ecosystem for you to drive value.
From your experience, because you're in the fashion industry, how important is it to understand what the customer wants, and how do you know what the customer wants? Because that's the biggest dilemma for most entrepreneurs.
So in the fashion, and the advantage I have also, I am both in the fashion and also in the insurtech space. And these two things are very different but similar. So you'll find out that in the insurtech is about the service you're providing without somebody seeing. And in the fashion, you're basically selling something somebody is able to see. But the biggest important thing is when it comes to fashion is the outfit you're wearing. How do I make sure that, Ian, the jacket you are wearing, you love it and you can get it in somewhere else. So I need to be in your position or where you are for me to come up with a design that basically you like. So it means I need to look at your lifestyle. I need to look at what do you like. Do you like going to golf? Do you like being a business person in terms of a C-suite one? Are you a playful person? So when I come up with that design, or when we come up with that design, I fit into your day-to-day life.
And how does one keep up? Because fashion is one of the industries whereby you constantly have to keep up with the clientele, because trends keep on changing. Taste keeps on changing. There's a season you used to like wearing baggy things. Now you want to wear fitting things. There's a season you want to wear, I'm seeing now the old school thing is trending. Let's say for myself, I like suspenders and stuff. How do you keep up with the changing trends in order to fit into the clientele?
You need to invest into research. And you need to invest into innovation. The biggest challenge we have, and I think this is not only a Kenyan problem, but it's basically the African problem, is we do things the same way by just producing. If there are coats, there are coats. We just keep on producing. But you find out that you need to really understand your demographic and the personality you are doing a design each and every time. So like, the designers I've worked with and the brand that we have specific people to just focus on a personality when they come to a design. So the personality for Ian today, it might be they want to look corporate. But when we look at Ian in 5 years, Ian has changed and he just wants to be a normal person outside there. So if I keep on designing things for Ian in a corporate view, I will lose Ian within the way, right?
True.
So research, and you cannot get it by just sitting behind your desk and just designing things. So you need to invest into research. Yeah.
Interesting. So let's kick off the conversation. The first question I like asking officially. What exactly are you most grateful for today?
The what?
What are you most grateful for today?
Life, man. Life. You know, I say I live today because today is what I know. I don't know about tomorrow, man. So I'm always grateful about life and today.
How are you able to live in the present? Because most of us always have the worry of tomorrow, always have the plan for tomorrow. How are you able to live in the present yourself?
So if you live today, the best of today, tomorrow will take care of itself.
Yeah. How are you able to do that?
No, but you see,
because it seems easier.
No,
it's easier said than that.
I know.
For most people, especially.
I know. So if you focus about tomorrow, you'll forget about today, and you'll become sick by fatigue, and you won't reach tomorrow. But if you do the best today, what will happen is basically it will make you to prepare for tomorrow. So what makes me basically do or basically be happy is I make sure whatever I'm achieving today, I must achieve it. If not, then it gives me the reason for tomorrow.
Look forward to tomorrow.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest problem of entrepreneurs, especially startups, about us. We think more about tomorrow without maximizing today.
Yeah, there's always that, because there's always that eagerness that I want to see a better tomorrow.
You will die, man.
You're not even living today, you're dying. It's not easy.
It's not easy, man.
And growing up, because you talk about the aspect of living living in the present.
Yeah.
Just take me through your childhood and what are some of the aspirations you had growing up that maybe triggered you to have you be where you are today?
So, so it's fun, you know. I'm the only boy out of 6, okay?
6?
Yeah.
So there are 5 ladies?
Yes,
and
5 ladies, okay?
You're the last one or what?
No, I'm the third born.
So the spoiled boy in between all the ladies?
No, it's a very funny one. Like, you know, the first born and the last born are the ones that basically either spoiled or what. But you know, what happens when you are a boy, and this is from my kinsmen. When you're a boy, I think there's a lot of emphasis and pressure. Like, you must be a man, okay? So when I finished high school, that was Viga Boys. I love my dad so much, at Kavugwi. So he asked me, do you want us to continue, or we continue with the ones that are behind you? You're a man. So do we continue with you, or we continue? So it gave me some essence of, hey, okay, so I need to work out my way.
You need to man up.
And the first business I did, so I've always had this business method. The first business I did, I supplied mandazis to my former school, Viga High School, at the canteen. I made some few money. And then I said, okay, so I can make money. So life has been so interesting for me. It has been, I've always had that entrepreneurship spirit, and I picked it from my mom. So I've always had that entrepreneurship spirit since I was there. I was a child, but it has been tough. Like, you being a boy, there's a lot that basically everything depends on you. So there's no room for failure. And
so your past exploits in terms of entrepreneurship was now your instance after high school, now getting to sell mandazis.
Mandazis,
And then how did you end up now building on this? Because primarily what you mentioned is that your dad gave you the statement, do I continue with you or those after? So meaning you became independent, ujitegemea going forth. How now did you start building yourself? Because you're now, just from high school, you have to literally take care of yourself. Yeah, so these very few people know about it. So I went to Mombasa. So I went to Mombasa, and courtesy to my cousin called Abby. So my cousin was working in Mombasa. So I said, see, I can go. So I've done mandazis. So So you did Mombasa for a while to sustain yourself?
No, it was only for 4 months, and I got some good money, 10,000, man. It was
yeah, Mandazi.
Yeah. So I went to Mombasa.
So you for 10,000, part of it is transport to Mombasa.
Yeah, and then some, of course, my dad basically chipped in. Okay, so when I went there, I met a white person that basically was running a casino in Diani. And the first statement I told him, you know, me, I'm good in mathematics. I can be a good accountant. Yeah. Remember, I'm just from school. Eh?
Yeah.
So the guy looked at me and asked me if I'm normal, because you are just from school. So do you know account? I'm like, no, I'm very good in mathematics. So if you give me an opportunity, I'm going to show you. And the guy, I think, was good enough. And he called somebody in the office and say, I'm sending you a certain young boy to come and be an assistant admin. And that's how basically I went. Yeah, my first job. I was earning 13,000 at Diani Reef Hotel in the casino there. So I worked there as a bookkeeper. So writing, you know, that time we had no QuickBooks. So there was this big book that basically you are booking everything. So I was a bookkeeper. And then after that, I did a good job. They told me now you can basically start being a cashier assistant, holding money. Man, I was holding some good money in a casino, but you know, I think that's excited me. Even I forgot I was earning 13,000 and I need to bank around 10 million every morning. Yeah, and that was very interesting to me. And my focus was I need to do CPA. So I did my first CPA, second CPA. I got bored. I said, no, CPA is not my thing. Because the accountants, I was looking at the accountant, I'm like, you are just here from morning to evening, man. And my lifestyle is not like that. I like interacting with people, talking to people. So I got money. And then I basically resigned. And I came to Nairobi to College of Insurance. Ah,
interesting. And before even getting to your transition out from Mombasa to here, how was that experience? Because you were touching a lot of money. I know working in the casino, you're exposed to so much money.
Yes.
So much that goes into place.
Yes.
Just looking back at that particular life, what are some of the lessons or maybe some of the things you picked out of that experience? Because you're just from high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had saved for 4 months 10,000. Now you're earning more than what you saved for 4 months.
Yeah.
But now you're exposed to so much money. What looking just back to it, what are some of the lessons at that point of life taught you?
I think I'm so grateful to my first boss and Patrick Matera, you know. Because one thing it has taught me, which until now it's so key to me. Money is good, but it just goes.
What do you mean by that?
As in, if you focus much into the money, you'll forget why you have the purpose, why you need to live. So remember, I'm earning 13,000, but I'm being told to deposit 10 million every morning. Because guys were gambling with 10 million, even 1 million, one plate. And I looked at that like, I'm so interested, like I'm able to hold 1 million, man. And
so
then
someone used to come and gamble
1 million and it goes. And it's okay.
I've heard so many stories about casinos.
And it's okay. And it's okay. And I think casinos, the casino of now is not the casino of some time back. Because I was privileged to basically be in a casino with some of the people I see now in the galleries. And somebody just comes and gambles 2 million. And you know what happens is you give 2 million in the cashier, they give you a plaque like one, and then you place it here. When it doesn't go to your plaque, you lose that 2 million within a second. And the guy said, okay, there's tomorrow, man.
Interesting. Yeah. And in the world of casinos, I always hear that what's it called? The house never loses.
That's true. I don't know because I've not been paid to. But you know, every business has a concept, has a model. Whatever happens to that, I don't know.
Interesting. And having been in that particular environment, you're exposed to so much money and people willing to put in money and bet in money. What other lesson did it teach you also around money?
Persistence, man. You know, I look at, remember that person that basically comes and gambles 1 million?
Of the hard-earned money. To play a
whichever
yes,
happens.
I'm just surprised.
But every day, it comes
consistently.
And then one day he wins.
Ah.
Like he says, especially the machines one, People just come, put in money, but they're very consistent, but they're going to win. So persistence. And the number two that basically made me to really appreciate is the purpose of you being in such place is connection. Some people will come there to lose money. It's not about money. It's about they're able to meet who's and who's
out there.
It's just like a club, a golf club. Why do you pay for a golf club membership? It's not about playing golf most of the time. It's about when you go there, you'll go and interact with people. And I think that really made me to be who I am today. So I focus much not into the money,
but focus in terms of the lessons.
Network, lessons. But if I can get more network in whatever I'm investing in, boss.
That's what exactly you focus on. All right, so now you decided now that, what's it called, you're done with the casino, you want to come back to Nairobi to pursue your CPAs. How was that particular transition like?
So I changed CPA because I told you, I hated. And
I'm sorry, you got tired, you didn't finish it?
I'm sorry for accountants, but I basically told them, man, you don't have a life, man. How do you stay in the office from morning till evening?
Coincidentally, you also studied accounting. But I was like, now look at me.
Now look at you are here. So I was not for that. As I've said, I'm a person that likes to engage people. So why I went to insurance is basically I looked at it as, hey, you are able to talk to people every time. You are able to interact with different people. So I went basically to study insurance. I changed from CPA. I didn't finish. I'm always a dropout. So I didn't finish. I came to basically to do insurance. And basically that's why I got exiled. My first job was at IIK Insurance East of Kenya. I basically went to Barclays Life. I think we were the first people to bring Barclays Life into Kenya. And then after there, CIC Group, and then Old Mutual. And now basically I am at Baltec, a Singapore company for InsurTech.
Interesting. There's something about insurance sales agents, and you guys always have that particular knack for sales. What are some of the lessons around sales, or maybe what are some of the lessons around sales you can actually share? Because insurance is not easy. Because in Kenya, I think the insurance penetration is less than 3%. And it's not easy getting that particular sale. But you're always very perseverant, and I'm sure most of you actually make a lot of money out of it. What are some of the lessons you learned around sales in your, just in and around insurance?
So also persistence, number one. However, the biggest thing that basically has hindered the penetration of insurance, especially in the Kenyan market, not even Kenya, the African market, is most insurance company focus on the sell. And you'll find out that the KPI for that sales agent is about sell, for them to earn. They don't focus much on the solution that basically this client needs. And I think that is one of the biggest problems. So you'll get out that salesperson will always focus on they need to sell you this education policy. Even if you want or you must get
I've gone into that trap before. I remember after after university, this thing you always, after university you always want to plan your life. I opened like 5 bank accounts because I thought I'll make so much money, have all these bank accounts. And then there's an insurance agent who came and approached me to do like an education policy for 20 years. After 3 months, I could not even continue paying. How you guys convince people? I don't know how.
Insurance company needs to change this mentality, man. The products, the products we have now in the market, and I keep on challenging them, right? And I think that's why in my roles in this insurance company has led me to basically focus on the innovation, digital, and basically the InsurTech option. The products we're having now, boss, they're not product for today. For those that we have children, you will discover that you pay more money at the baby care now than even at the high school.
University.
Even now. I have my sister that I pay for at the KMTC. I'm paying less money than my PP2. That
they're graduating.
Like PP2, I'm paying more money than the KMTC. I'm like, what is that? But now you're being sold an education policy for 10 years. 10 years. So even don't just even put for 20, just say even 10 years. But 10 years, who knows if education will be there after 10 years?
It will be free.
Or the way the government is very uncertain, they might change and say, okay, there's no education. We are basically going to just study and no exams. You don't know about tomorrow. And you see, and that's the biggest problem we're having. And I think that needs to change. That needs to change in terms of insurance companies to change those products. And if you find out, the same insurance product is being sold at company X and company. They are all the same.
Yeah.
It's just the name.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I agree with that with you.
Yeah.
And so you transition now. Initially, you wanted to become an accountant. You got into insurance.
Yes.
How exactly was your trajectory, and then how are you maneuvering through it? Did you just get into sales? How did you go about that particular maneuvering in the industry?
So I started, as I've said, my first job was at IIK, Insurance Institute of Kenya, where basically it's where the professional of insurance basically meet and register. For you to do a professional paper, you must be a member of IIK, right? So I really interacted with a lot of CEOs. A lot of members. So my first job was I want to sell, man. So one of the insurance companies says they're looking for a salesperson. So I tried selling in the street, but that was not my thing. Like I said, it's not a must. If I want to sell, I go to the street. So something good is basically Barclays Life wanted to basically come into the market, and I was approached. I was like, hey, you can come and basically be part of our sales team. So I joined Barclays Life as a relationship officer, and basically immediately I went to be in charge of the region, Western and Nyanza region, the Barclays Life. Yeah, so that's how it has been. And then the bank assurance concept started. And then now CIC also took me from Barclays Life. I was in charge of the region for bank assurance for Nyanza and Western for CIC group, and then I came back to Nairobi in charge of alternative channels in the life side, for some time, and then now I joined basically Old Mutual in charge of affinity and digital.
And because your career took another particular trajectory, because primarily you've moved from the big corporates to another corporate, which is not easy. From your experience, having gone through this particular career growth that you've experienced, what does one need to do in order for them to ensure that their career is progressing? Because I know most sales people, especially in insurance, remain the same place for a pretty long time. How exactly have you been able to maneuver?
I think it's not only the insurance sector. I think it's every sector. If you have an employee mindset, you will always be in that one place. I've never had an employee mindset.
So it's
never. It's basically, I've always had an entrepreneurship mindset, which is an ownership mindset. Like whatever I'm given, I do it as if it's my own. So if I feel the business is not growing how I want it to, I basically leave. And you see, God has a way of making things alive in life.
Interesting. So on that particular point, you're going to take a short commercial break, and then after that, you're going to find out how this particular transition from insurance to fashion came about, and yes, gain some lessons around entrepreneurship. So I'll see you after the break. Welcome back to the show. Before we went on a break, Dominic was just taking us through his interesting journey from the Yiga to Mombasa, in the casinos, and then finding himself back in Nairobi, getting into insurance, going through the insurance sector, and then at this particular juncture, at what point now did you decide now to transition from insurance now into fashion? How did that particular transition come about?
So when I was at CIC, that was in 2021, because I joined CIC in 2015. So in 2021, remember in 2020, there was COVID.
Yeah.
And what happened? People were working from home. I was also working from home. But you know, the people with ownership mindset, they don't like to be idle. And this is for all employers outside there. If you find out that you have an employee that has ownership mindset, be very careful. Don't let them be idle. So I was idle. As much as the business is coming in, but there's nothing. So I'm used to waking up, working on something. So what happened is I felt, no, this is not what I want. So I wake up, the same thing, meetings, meet this client, that's all. So I started consulting for some fashion businesses. And not here, basically. It was the UK firm. There was one of the UK firm that basically they told me to consult for them on the strategy, because that's where I really thrive, strategy and marketing. So I was just trying to help them. How do they penetrate in the digital space of fashion? And I'm here in Kenya. So I did that for like 6 months, 7 months. I got one fashion company here in Kenya who wanted also my service. I also did that for 4 months. So when I was telling them to implement whatever I was telling them, but they were not trying to implement, then I said, why can't I do it myself? Yeah, and I got money to invest. I got machines, and basically everything I bought it in 2020 November, December, and first of 2021, January 2021, I was up and running.
And how did you go about this in terms of, because setting up a fashion, you need the infrastructure around it.
Yes.
How did you end up getting the capital towards ensuring this? Was it from the consultancy, or how did you go about it?
So if you want something to be done, you will get it. So I basically sold some things. I got money from my friends, loans, you know. But one thing I wanted is to start. I wanted to start my first business with no loans, which is a very bad decision. Yeah,
why?
I think if I was to go back, I could not do some stupid things that I had done. Right?
What are some of the stupid things that you think?
Like, why do you need to sell everything to start a business?
What did you sell?
And and then you're selling a car, you're selling and you can basically take a facility and do that, man. But
it's
man,
interesting because the guest I had before also did the same thing, whereby he started off a business, but it also took a significant loan to actually set up the business. And he was like, it was actually a good decision that he made. And he also advocating for setting up a business with a loan.
Yes.
But pretty much every quote-unquote expert advocates for not doing that. Why do you advocate for it?
So I advise people. I also do masterclass for fashion. I also do masterclass for startup. What I say is never get advised with people that don't own businesses.
I agree.
Because you know, until you are in there, you never know. And I think you have seen a lot of conferences. Blah blah, do these things, but at the end of the day, the practicality of it, it's a problem. And that's the problem also with our institution nowadays. A degree person, if you bring them here,
it's different.
It can't fit. So it's very, very hard for you to start a business with your own facility without really having somebody to check out. Because you know, if you have a loan, one thing, you will always be pushed, not only by yourself, but you'll be pushed to pay that loan. So there's something that will drive you to do that. But remember, now I've sold everything. I've gotten some money, and then we have started it, and then it's not working. Remember, I started in January 2021.
Yeah, just
in March is where now the lockdown started. Now I've even told some of the because I had poached some of the staff from a certain company. Now, where do you take them?
How did you maneuver this period? Because it's tough, because the economy is sort of like shrinking, quote unquote, at that point during COVID. Everything's on lockdown.
It's crazy. And you've
sold everything.
And you have promised them heaven.
Yes.
You have promised them heaven.
And then
you have told them, let me tell you guys. And you know, I came up with this concept of, I know I can't afford you 100%, but what will happen, I'll give you some shares. And that's the biggest problem. I think in our next episode, next time we shall talk about it. The biggest problem I learned is don't dish out shares. So, but from where I sat is, I thought everybody's like me with ownership mindset. If you give me 1% shares of your company, I will work as if it's my company, right? So I tell people, I'll give you shares, one. So if this company does well, we are all owners. But I think that was the biggest mistake. So as much as I brought them on board, COVID hit, I told them now, if I release you, then I lose the business. If I maintain you, I still pay you whatever I'm paying you, I will also be in a problem. So what should we do? So we discussed and said, okay, I will maintain you on a certain retainer, which also was some good idea. Because what happened that time, every company is telling people to go, but I never told my staff to go. So I maintained them on a certain retainer on my money to still be there. Yeah, for them to stay there. And that's basically which led to, can we come up with an idea? So the first idea was, we are looking for businesses from abroad, but now we can't get them because they are locked down. So can we think of, can we do it here in Kenya? Can we look for designers who are importing things from China? And then we design for them here. And I think that's where the startup package started. So we basically started from there. Like, okay, so we have people that are importing from China. But now they can't go. But they have stores, they have clients. Why can't we come up with something for them, for us to basically benefit from them? And then, you see now that the advantage also of having a team. Because if I could have let them go, then we could not have people discussing this.
Yeah.
So we basically build up our businesses based on COVID.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And how difficult, or maybe just looking back in retrospect, it's not easy for anybody running a business during COVID because everything had to shut down. You had to find a way in terms of managing the business for that period. You don't know for how long. What are some of the critical lessons you learned navigating that tough period for business, especially for you who were starting then?
So I normally say this, COVID was my best year in business. 2020 was my best year. So I started the startup package and I basically also started our own line. So our own fashion line called Bittiner We Are Kenya. So as much as we are busy telling people to come, we produce for them, what's the sustainability of it? So because people are taking their own time to come. So we said, we have some fabrics, okay? We have the machines, right? We have the designer, right? Well, why can't we just start our own brand? So we basically started again our own brand in 2020. And that what, it basically after 2 months, we were basically doing some good amount of money. And that basically made us to make a big progress. So it gave me something of, during hash time, it makes you think out of the box.
I understand you. Why did you decide on the name Bittiner? And you're Dominic.
I know. So
I don't know. That's the first time I'm actually hearing the word Bittiner.
In fact, it's Frederick Bittiner. It's now where basically it's called Bittiner. So what I wanted, as I've told you, I started the business with the concept of business from outside. And until you go outside, you will discover how people hate our names, right? Until you get outside there, some brands don't just move because of the name. And being a passionate of, you need to understand about branding. It's very important. So why I did that is my first market was in the UK. I wanted to basically go in the UK. So Frederick Bittiner is basically a name that basically is associated with a very famous person in UK some time back. And this person loved art, and then I said, so why can't I just register Frederick Bittiner with a friend of mine? So I first registered Frederick Bittiner in UK through a friend, and then I registered it here. Why? If this brand grows and then somebody there says that name is familiar. So that's what the purpose of the name. It's not to be associated with me, but it being a business that it can stand on its own.
Interesting. And what are some of the lessons? Because you know, in fashion, a brand is everything. Even in business, a brand is the most important element of any particular business. How have you been able to build a brand? And what are some of the lessons you've learned from building a brand? Because a brand is primarily what holds any business together.
So a lot of lessons, but two key ones is a brand is like a baby. You see how you want your baby to grow, to look like, is how you need to grow your brand. So a brand is so delicate that if you mess out, you mess everything. And that's why you find out if you associate your brand too much with your personality, if something happens with you, your brand also goes with that. So brand is so personal that you need to treat it like a baby. Knowing that this baby has their own life, but they are also associated with you. But you need to build it in a way that they are able to sustain themselves. So that's how the brand for me is. Like the key lesson is basically you need to differentiate yourself, the brand. If your vision is to make it a big one, but if your vision is for it to be a family business, then don't worry, just call it yourselves. And then the second big lesson is always focus on the long term of what you want to achieve. So as I've told you, my brand has a future proof. So if, for example, now something happens and then I say, okay, I'm not used to it. Like what happened? I basically kept on hold a bit because I had some financial problem in the business. But when a lot of people came in to support and say, hey, Dominic, your brand is good. Why can't we help you to bring it back this year? And what means is they never associated that brand with Dominic because it has its own legs. So always chart a path for your business brand to have its own legs.
Interesting. Yeah. And one of the core things that I was just doing my research on you is that you sit on the board of Kenya Fashion Council.
Yes.
Tell me about what does the Fashion Council do?
So I'm currently not sitting at that board, but I was sitting on that board. So the purpose of Kenya Fashion Council was to advocate for fashion students in the country. And it's so heartbreaking that, do you know how many fashion students graduate every year in Kenya?
Quite a lot.
Like 400 every year. But do you ask yourself where these fashion students go to? There are those that open cybers and open kiosks. Yeah. So the main purpose of that was basically to bring the fashion people together, to bring connection. That was the main purpose. But basically, I left. I basically resigned and just left that year.
All right. And in terms of now, because you're running a business, you're still in the insurance sector, how are you maneuvering both particular different ends? How are you able to juggle your time between both ends?
So there's something about passion that you can never explain. So as I've said, I started my brand when I was at CIC.
Yeah.
And I've maintained it because that's passion to me. So everything I do about it is passion. So I know I'll dedicate my time to this in the morning or in the evening. Like it's a passion. It's just the same way you have a footballer and he's working.
Yeah.
So how do they balance? Football is their passion. They find time for that passion. So that's what I do. I find time for my passion.
How are you able to make that particular follow through, which is the most difficult thing that most guys are now able to do? So you're building your business, you're still you're building your businesses in two different sectors at the same time. How are you able now how do you usually, manage your time through it, in the sense that you have to consistently ensure that every objective that you set out, you're able to do it? Because people always say when you become a master of so many things, you become a master of none.
Yeah, I agree. And also what COVID taught all of us is this, that always have extra income.
No, it's true.
And having extra income is basically looking at what you like most and commercializing that. So with that, you'll discover you will always create time for that. So how I was doing it even when I started it, remember my work at CIC was starting at 8 and 8:30 and was ending at 4:30. I was in the office every day at 5.
In the morning? In
the morning. And then it was at Ngong Road. My office of the insurance was at Upper Hill. So I will leave my home at South Sea. I go basically there from 5, and then I will work until 7:30
in the morning.
In the morning, and then I leave. I go to the work. During my interaction with clients, of course, you have clients you will meet that basically they want to be dressed. You will also sell, right? And then in the evening, I will also go there to basically check on what is happening.
During the day, you're selling insurance and also you're selling fashion.
Yeah, because
they're all integrated.
Yeah, it's integrated. You have an outfit, so you look nice, but I can do better. Design for you. So passion, but overall is create time for your passion. And I think in all businesses, I normally tell people, as an entrepreneur, the difference between an entrepreneur and a business person is basically an entrepreneur will basically think of a passion to commercialize. A business person, if they have money, they can do it. And if they have time, they can do it. So I think the entrepreneurship is very important about whatever you're doing. If you like laughing too much, you can be ghost mule and basically get paid.
Patanisho.
That's
the best example Aluya would give.
Yeah, so try to commercialize your passion. It will pay off.
And the aspect of commercialization, it's easier said than done, because most people have passions but they never commercialize it. What's the process out of your experience in terms of now commercializing a particular passion? Because you're in the insurance sector, you're successful at it, you have an interest in terms of fashion, you decide now to build a brand out of it.
Yeah.
How are you able to go about now commercializing it? What's the process? And maybe when you look back, what are some of the things that you learned in terms of your process that you can actually share to the audience?
So remember the first thing I told you about network. It's very important. It makes you sharpen your brains. The moment I talk to you, Ian, 2 to 3 times about my idea, the moment you will challenge me, that's the moment I'll discover there's a need. So the more you network with the right people, the more you will start thinking of how to commercialize your idea. And I'll give you a good example. If somebody is good at talking, and even, let me give my personal example. What people don't know, the website that have been done, I've done them myself, but I'm not a website person. Why? Because every time I wanted to do something, and then somebody tells me, okay, can you do this poster for me? I say, yeah, I can do it. So when I do it, I give it, and then they tell me, by the way, you can earn from this. And then I start doing it. Am I not earning from it? But if I was just doing it myself, I could not. So the big thing is basically network, right? Don't just network. Get the right people for you to network. And that means you need to be at the right place at the right time.
There's a book that I was gifted some time back by Eugene Bugwa. It's called Never Eat Alone, which is one of the most interesting books I've read around aspect of networking, and gives out pieces in terms of how you go about networking. For you, from your experience, because I know networking is such a key aspect, how do you usually go about networking?
So I'm very keen on who I interact with, where to be, and who to talk to.
How now?
So like now, if example, I want to get a deal in the InsurTech, where should I go in the fashion event? I look for an event that basically is an InsurTech, and I will pay, and I'll attend. And that's where I'll get the people. So be very intentional. Be very intentional. And I think that's what is very important. Be intentional on where you want to be. If basically you want CEOs, where do you get these CEOs? You'll get them at Capital Club, right?
Yeah.
You'll get them at golf clubs, right? So why do you want to go and be a member of somewhere else? So if you want those people, you will meet them at the right place. So you must do your research. What do you want? Which people do you want? Which network do you want? Join that network. Network is your network.
No, I fully agree.
Yeah.
Looking back at your journey, it's been a journey of someone who came from the village, who was told to man up quite early, who's gotten himself into hustling quite early and has managed to be successful at it. Looking in retrospect, what are some of the key lessons you can say you've learned, or maybe the key lessons you've learned around business and entrepreneurship?
So business is easy as said. However, it has more about family that people really don't understand it.
What do you mean by that?
So, you know how they talk about, and the recent joke in the town that the only people that will be with you is your family, right? So it means you need to have time.
Gashago's famous statement.
You need to have time. So you need to have time for your business. That's the most important lesson I've learned. Whatever you're doing, you must have that. But the most important thing for every entrepreneur is don't start a business because Dominic has started a business, boss.
That's a Kenyan thing mostly,
And it's so annoying. Like I've interacted, and I'll talk to you a bit about what Bittiner Hub does. We have been able to help over 200 fashion designers to start their own brands. But what basically makes me sad is these people, most of them, as much as starting a business, it has a problem. So you might have a problem of us manufacturing for you. There was a miscommunication, but most of them, you'll find out that they will now want to come and start poaching your own stuff.
But you also poached at one point.
Yeah, I know. But at the end of the day, I poached because they were being laid.
All right,
But if you are working or if you are partnering with somebody, you don't need to do whatever they are doing. You don't need, competition is healthy. But you can now start saying you want to start business because Ian is doing that. You can't start a show because KTN is doing a show. You don't know what is happening behind the scene. And I think that's the most important thing. Like, always look at the collaboration part of it. Don't focus to be like Dominic. Don't focus to be like so and so. If they tell you their journey,
Yeah, it's different. Everybody's
It's
journey,
different.
Everybody's journey and trajectory is extremely different.
It's different. And I give an example of why is it that the top CEOs in the business in this country, they have businesses, by the way, but very rare you hear about them. But is it that they cannot advertise?
They can.
They can. But why is it that they're not competing with the bank itself? It's because that's not what they know best. They know to serve. You understand? So you don't compete by basically wanting to be the person that you are looking at. You look at the collaboration aspect. How do you want to collaborate? You will basically go for. I was telling you, Ian, if I was to go back of starting a business in 2020, there are things that I could not have done. So one of the things that I could have done, I could have looked at a business that is doing whatever I'm doing and I invest in. I could not start from scratch.
From scratch. No, I agree.
Never.
Starting from scratch is extremely difficult.
But now the progress that I've made, and then I see people starting from scratch.
Yeah.
I said, okay.
No, I fully understand you. But thank you so much. I think time has literally flown so fast. I was like, wow, the producer is telling me time is, and I'm like, wow,
yeah.
Probably to do a part 2 at some point. But I really appreciate. Thanks so much for having come to the show.
Thanks a lot.
The audience, you've learned a thing or two from this interesting journey. The gentleman from Vihiga making it to Mombasa, coming to Nairobi, and just making it quite an inspirational journey. Thanks so much for having watched this show. As always, we're coming to you from the Capital Club, the place you need to be as an entrepreneur. And being a part of the Capital Club, one of the core things that actually has been mentioned in this show is the network that you have access to. The who's who you can think about, any CEO you can think about is a member at the Capital Club. So ensure you become a member at the Capital Club. My name is Ian Dennis. Follow me across all social media platforms at Ian Dennis Network, at KTN across all social media platforms. Until next time, I'll see you right here on KTN.